I understand exactly what I'm about to do to myself, but unpopular dating opinion, the one does not exist. Yes, I fucking said that. And I'm not trying to break it for you to the hopeless romantics out there who are like, the one, the one, the one. Okay, I believe, just hear me out. Welcome to Carla Turned On, where dating gets real, sex gets talked about, and the BS gets left on red. Let's get turned on. I believe that there is somebody for everyone and there's multiple people for everybody. So it's not just this whole thing of there's just one, it has to be one, this is it. It's that's intense. Whoa, slow the F down. But I genuinely believe that there are clients of mine whose partners have passed away and they don't have them anymore, right? So what? That was it? That's their only chance in life. Goodbye, right? That's fucked. And then I also believe too, you were in relationships. Maybe you dated somebody for a long time. You were in a long-term relationship. You were engaged and it broke off. I have been there myself before. What? So all of a sudden that was supposed to be it. They were just supposed to be the one. I think you get my point, right? And that's okay. If we agree to disagree, totally fine with it. But I just think we put so much emphasis on finding this one person that we actually take away the meaning of connection and dating. And then that's when dating starts to feel completely exhausting, where you're on the dating apps and you're swiping and you're swiping and you're just can't take this. I'm deleting them. And then you're okay, I'm single. I want to meet somebody. So then you what? Get back up on those dating apps again and you're swiping and you're swiping. But this time you're resentfully swiping. Can't do this anymore. Okay, so you get the point here. And as somebody who has been in many relationships in the past before and dated a lot, I like to find comfort in the idea that if it doesn't work out with somebody else, you have opportunity to meet someone else. There's somebody else out there for you. So yes, although it takes out the romanticism of it all, it's also just kind of the reality of dating and relationships. But honestly, when it comes to trying to date and trying to meet somebody, you gotta look in the mirror because that is our number one block. Okay, I also understand if you lived on a deserted island, and if anybody is on that deserted island living full time, please reach out to us at Turned On because you are one in a million. Actually, you're one in the world, right? But if you feel like you are living on this deserted island, you can't find anybody, you can't meet anybody, it feels very negative. However, that's that mirror, right? We need to look at our reflection. And I'm not saying this to be an asshole. I am saying this because this is the work that I had to do. This is literally the work that I do every single day with my clients. And at this point, I have coached over 1,000 clients, okay? I have been doing this shit. Oh my gosh, I've owned my business for almost 8 years as a dating and relationship coach, okay? So I can tell you first and foremost, this is what I work on with clients, and this is what I did with myself. I had to take a hard look in that mirror and recognize some of my dating blocks. The reason I wasn't having success with relationships was because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel enough. And we are going to get into that today, but I also want to talk about, and if you are new here or you are now episode 2 in, so welcome. Thank you for being part of this second episode journey because you're a real one. Shout out to you. And if you're no, I just came in for the second episode, go to that first episode. We are going to talk about, taco stands for talking about coming and orgasming. Yes, there you have it. Because honestly, it is so freaking important to discuss sex, to discuss this when we're talking about dating, all of that good shit. We're going to be talking about, does size matter? And yes, this is for men and women. So if you're a dude and you're I need to hear this. Yes, you do need to hear this. And if you're a woman who's well, I have my own experiences. What's the research? What are the facts behind this? Yes, you need to hear this too. We are going to get deep into being turned off right now. So the things that turn us off, like today, ghosting, right? Ghosting. Now, I am going to totally out my 22-year-old self who was on Tinder back in the day before Bumble and Hinge and all the other million dating apps ever existed. And I ghosted a date. Now, before you're like, wow, she's a dating and relationship coach. Ugh. No, I was deep in my codependency back then. I was going to therapy and starting to work through some of my blocks, my self-esteem, the partners I was picking, but I was not very ahead in my journey yet. Here's the deal. Most of us have actually ghosted. We like to talk shit on people who ghost, but the majority of us at some point in dating have done it. Now, I am not saying that it is okay to ghost. I actually do not agree with ghosting, and I don't think it is okay for any reason. There is zero excuse. But I'm going to come from a place of I was a people pleaser. Yeah, I was an absolute people pleaser. I literally was afraid to tell somebody, hey, I'm not interested in going on another date when they were like, hey, we should date. And I can tell you that was 100% coming from a place of insecurity, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and needing to make others happy. So I was literally so anti-confrontational that I just never texted back to the guy that I went to a movie with, and which I don't suggest doing movies as first dates. And then he followed up with a text. He'd love to do it again. And I never messaged him back. He did message me back days later and was like, this is so messed up that you're not answering. You could have just let me know you're not interested. Okay. He is 100% right. I recognize I was in the wrong there. And I understand too, some people ghost because they are avoidant, they don't care, they literally are so desensitized to humans. That's not what we're really talking about here. I get that is its own category. We can't just blanket ghosting as, oh, they're a terrible person, so therefore, screw all the people who are ghosting. Now, I understand. It sucks to be ghosted. It is not fun, and it's really discouraging. And I think there is something to be said of ghosting levels here, okay? Nothing turns me off more than somebody who does this to my clients. Hey, real quick, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want dating support, don't forget to look in the notes below where you can learn all about my guides and how to work with me. And if you want to follow me on my socials, you can find me anywhere at I am Carla Romo. Let's get turned on. And that is you're dating them for a month and then boom, they ghost you. That is different than going on one first date, not following up to their text. Still not okay. We're not making excuses here, but you have formed a relationship with somebody. That is not okay, and that is not safe behavior. There's no security in there. There's no trust in there. The person just like up and goes, right? I've also had clients tell me that they've dated people for months and then ghosted. Okay, so this is such a turnoff. I don't even think it should be in the turnoff section here right now, but it is because it is so fucked up to do to someone. However, I'm going to tell you this. If you are coming from a people-pleasing place, just remember you are not responsible for somebody else's feelings, behaviors, or actions. And I've also had clients who tell me, I once told a guy, this is a woman that I was coaching, I once told a guy I wasn't interested but wish you the best, and he went off on me. Then I saw him a year later at a speed dating event, had to sit down next to him, said hi, and he continued to go off on me that he made me cry. Okay, that is so insane, right? Like here somebody is being honest, being open, and then she told me that she gets nervous. She doesn't even want to tell people she's not interested anymore. So when we think about this, we have to kind of think about the bigger picture of why people do this. I am reinforcing this once again. It is not an excuse, okay? But there are concrete reasons to why people do this, why people ghost. Now, I'm going to say this. If you find yourself ghosting, here's a little script that works for me, works for my clients, that is foolproof, okay? It's proven. And that is really simple. You just let the person know when they reach out to you, hey, had a great time, would like to do this again, or hey, why don't we go out again? You just let them know, hey, I think you're awesome, just wasn't feeling it. To continue on any further, wish you the best, exclamation. I get some people in my TikTok comments were like, don't ever say wish you the best. I hate that. Oh, that sucks. Okay, make it your own. Make it your own. This is just a framework of a starting point. If you don't talk like that, that's okay. Make it your own. You get the point, right? I'm giving you the structure. You put the ingredients in to make it tasty and spicy. You hear? You hear. Oh, also, side note, talking about spicy, I live off of chili flakes, red pepper chili flakes. They are literally just the best. Okay, I completely digress. Let's move on. One of the biggest dating blocks that you probably have felt before yourself, that I see in clients, and that stopped me for years upon years, relationships upon relationships, date after date. You get the fucking point. Not trying to out myself, but it's the truth, is when people do not feel enough. Okay? So I'm just gonna back up here. All right. Long story short, I don't know how much time you have, but I know you don't have all day to listen to this. So I'm going to make it short and sweet. I used to not feel enough. I didn't feel worthy. I legit did not feel lovable. And you might be like, why does she just say this like so chill and calm? Because today is a very different story. I love myself. I know my fucking worth. I act on it. It's part of what attracted me to my husband. Okay. All right. Let me back up. So I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel enough. I grew up with an abusive father. So that really set the tone of this whole idea that like I wasn't enough. There was abandonment in there. I didn't have a relationship with him. And so as a result, that literally was the foundation of how I connected with men. Okay, like schoolboys, right? Like boyfriends and things like that when I was younger. Then when I became an adult, men. And I will tell you, I was not conscious of this. I literally had no idea that I was picking codependent relationships. And as I wrote in my book, Contagious Love, Break Free from Codependency for Damn Good, I would go on a date and I'd sit down with a person. I'd be like, oh, you also had a hard childhood, or you had this terrible thing happen to you that was traumatic. So did I. Amazing. We should date. This is literally a recipe for dating. No, that is a recipe for dysfunction or just codependency. I don't know. You call it what you want. But I can tell you right now that I thought I was supposed to be bonding with somebody over fixing their problems because I felt so flawed. I felt like I had to get somebody's love and attention because I was not enough. My being was not enough. And as a result, that got me into codependent relationships. It got me into abusive relationships. It got me into relationships with people who had addictive personalities. I mean, there was a whole spectrum, right, of things that this led me into because I was rooted in that. And yes, I am not saying that if you've been in an abusive relationship, that that is your fault. Like that is 100% the actions of the other person, okay? Like we are accusing the abuser at this point, that you are a victim, right? However, I will say there was part on my side of why I was accepting this behavior, right? Like I was choosing somebody who was not safe to be with, okay? So I can tell you right now, I didn't feel worthy, didn't feel enough. It wasn't until I went on a solo trip. I went on a solo trip because that's what one does, gets the fuck out of the country. I was in this relationship and I was living in LA at the time, and I went on this solo trip to Ireland. And I'd never been on a solo trip before. I was like so excited, right? My young 20-something-year-old self. I was like, let's go. And I went on this trip. And while I was on this trip, I saw this person. Like, I just get gut feelings. You're like, this is off. This is not right. Okay. I got plenty of those gut feelings before. A lot. We're not even going to go there. So much that I would paint red flags green. I'd be like, oh, it's okay. Who cares about this feeling? He said this, this, and this. So like, I guess it's fine, right? Like, no, it's not fine. Follow your damn gut. So I got this terrible gut feeling. And he had this was like back in the day when Instagram used to show you on your feed. Like there was a section that you could see people like certain pictures. I don't know. Anyways, he had liked this photo of this girl. Okay. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And it was a very like provocative photo. This is weird. And I hadn't heard from him. Like he wasn't calling me. I was like, this is so strange. Like gut feeling, everything feels off. But I was like, no, you are on this trip in Ireland. Go enjoy it. Go have fun. I'm standing in the Wicklow Forest. Okay. Like I'm amongst the mountains. I'm just standing there. And I had this profound spiritual moment. I am not religious, but I am spiritual. And there is no like certain spiritual practice in the sense of like, oh, chakras, this. Like I just do my own thing. All right. Like it's just a connection with higher power is what I call it. I believe everybody should explore their own, whether that is spirituality, religion, like whatever. And I literally felt this like movement. I was just like, whoa. And I just saw two paths in front of me. It was either continue down this path of self-sabotage and continue to repeat these patterns of being in these dysfunctional relationships, right? Like over and over again, and recognizing now it is a choice. Or I end that abusive relationship and I begin the most important relationship that I will ever have. And that is the relationship with myself. And so you can probably guess what I did. What was it? I chose that relationship with myself. And I can say today, It is the most important relationship I will ever have in my damn life, and I still have that relationship with me today. I literally learned how to love myself. I had to start with me. It wasn't about me finding other people to fill that space. That is empty space to be filled, and I will always be running out. I will always be gasping for air by looking for other people to fill it. And so I was able to fill that space for myself. I learned to love myself, take care of myself, learned what boundaries were, learned to follow my gut when it's off, not turn those red flags green. And I made a promise to myself to never compromise my self worth or my self love ever, ever, ever again. And so I made that promise and I followed through with that promise. There was a part of me, and this is something that my clients and I talk a lot about within themselves. There was a part of me that questioned. I was like, okay, can I really trust myself? Like, I see a red flag. Like, can I really? Abso-fucking-lutely. Something really big came up. I was previously engaged to somebody and I observed some massive red flags. It wasn't even a question. I have to tell you, like, the confidence that took over me, I was able to be like, nope. I mean, was I devastated? Yes. And was it traumatic? Yes. Did I do lots of EMDR therapy afterwards? Yes. That is trauma therapy, if anybody's curious. It's a really great modality. But I was like, I'm not letting this person break me. This is who I am, and nobody's going to take that from me. And I mean, like I always say too, following your gut, being able to listen to the red flags, loving yourself, owning your worth will lead you to the right person. And that is literally my marriage today. I am who I am. I am respected for who I am. I am loved for who I am. But I have that relationship and that strong foundation. My husband's not trying to take it down. He is only holding me up and championing me. Okay. And I would go through all that crazy shit again. Like if somebody was like, you have to relive your life again, I'd be like, let's fucking go. Because it brought me to right here and right now. But I talk about all of this because I know that there are so many people out there right now dating, including you probably, or if you're like, don't call me out like that. Okay, we don't have to pretend it's you, who feel so lonely, so just not lovable right now, so unworthy of finding somebody. And this can manifest from being in unhealthy relationships or being in your 30s and never having a relationship, right? Or even 40s or whenever. We don't have to time cap this. And it's just one of those things that can make us feel so isolated and make us feel like we just will never meet the person we're supposed to meet. And you might even be like, see, great, glad it all worked out for you. But I can tell you, a little over 3 years ago, I'm just going to be honest with you guys because I keep it real. After I ended that engagement, I actually moved back in with my mother because I moved out of the apartment that my ex and I had been sharing. And I hadn't lived with my mother. Like, I'm telling you, I had not lived with my mother since I was like a child, right? Like, I left high school and then went to college and then had internships in the summer and like living where the internships were. I didn't live with her. Okay. So, like, I'm a grown ass adult in her 30s living with her mom again. And I had moments of just, I could not see the future in front of me. Like, I was like, what? I mean, I remember sitting in my therapist's office and being like, I don't know. Like I can't see anything in front of me. Like, why would I choose to be with somebody if I was just going to get this hurt again? And she said to me, she was like, because being in a relationship is about sharing the stupid shit, your day to day. You know, you saw something funny and you share it with your partner. And I was like, okay, I guess this makes sense. But she was right at the time. It's about getting back up, not feeling worthy or not feeling enough or feeling lost or hopeless or whatever it is when it comes to dating and being able to say, no, I believe in myself. Like, I don't know when I'm going to meet them. I don't know, what's going to happen or what my future holds. But I believe in myself. I love myself. I care enough about myself that if this is what I want to meet somebody. I want to be with that person, whoever they are, right? We don't believe in the one, but I'm going to do this for myself. And I just have to say, it's okay if you feel not worthy. It's okay if you don't feel enough. It is okay if you're dating and don't feel these things. Like, you don't have to be at the peak of your self-love. I consider self-love a journey. I mean, that is life. There is no destination. But I do believe if you don't feel these things, like, you need to actively be working on it. You need to be striving, right? Fighting for yourself, not just sitting back and accepting, well, I'm not going to find anybody. I'm not lovable. So whatever, game over. I just gonna like roll up the carpet and go home, right? No, like, don't pull out of dating. You deserve to meet somebody, right, who is going to reflect the amazing person that you are in the inside. And I just have to say that when we are going through this, it's so hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We just don't feel like it exists. We don't feel like it's there. And it is there. We just don't know when. And when we're having these negative thoughts, something that I always tell clients to do and to think about is, what is the negative thought? What is your default? I know we're getting deep as shit on this episode, so just bear with me, please. But when you're thinking about those thoughts when it comes to dating, what's the negative thought that's coming up? I'm never going to meet them. I might as well give up. I'm going to be single forever. I don't trust myself. I mean, I don't know, right? There's so many thoughts here that might be stopping you and preventing you from going after, making choices, going on that second date, going on that third date, swiping on this person who seems safe, who's not going to be these highs and lows, not following the spark, but following somebody who feels stable. All of these things, right? But it's reframing. It's literally taking our negative thoughts of I'm not enough. And okay, I'm going to flip it to you know where this is probably going, to I am enough. And that's okay. And if that's enough for you, then great. But maybe you want to aspire to I am awesome. And the person I'm going to meet is going to add to my awesomeness, right? Like, you can put it to whatever you want. But the power behind this, I have seen clients literally transform their dating lives when they take that negative statement and flip it to something positive. And you could be like, cool, Carla, great. This seems so bizarre. No, there's actual research. There's research behind this. Okay. I don't just spout out shit. There's research that suggests that when you have that negative statement and you reframe it to the positive, all you have to do is practice it one time per day. Okay. All I'm asking is that you practice that positive one time per day, and you will start to rewire your brain to the default positive. Now, I'm going to break something to you, and I don't want to be negative here, but you have that negative default. You know it's sort of part of your psyche. You know that it might pop up here and there, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're fully regressing. Just because you go on a date and it doesn't go well, and then you're like, fuck, I'm not enough. Screw the I am enough statement. I'm holding on to I'm not enough. That's it. Okay, let's not be dramatic, right? But that's okay. That's a button that gets pushed. And it's always about reworking that muscle. That's why I say, it's not like we self-love this shit and we're here and we're final. No, we are going to be challenged on that button. Think about it as this button that just pulls you back, defaults you, brings you down. It's kind of this bullshit button. And that you actually have the power to combat that if that's what you want, if that's what you're looking for. So you might be like, I wanted to get on this podcast and find out really good tips, which we are going to be talking about that around size matters in a minute on Taco. Okay, but I digress. But ultimately, your number one block, it starts with yourself. Because if you don't feel enough, you're not going to get on the dating apps. You're not going to go after that man or that woman who is emotionally available. And I'm just going to be real. Men struggle with this too. This is not just a woman's thing, right? Women are much more comfortable talking about it amongst each other. Men struggle with these thoughts, with these feelings, with dating, with that inner dialogue that's going on. It happens to everybody. And here we are, what you've been waiting for. Let's taco about it. All right. As you know, taco stands for talking about coming and orgasming. And I know you're probably like, oh my God, this feels vulgar. It's too much. No, it's not, because the majority of us are being sexually active with people that you are dating or seeing, right? And it doesn't even have to be sex. It could literally be kissing or whatever, touching. I mean, there's so many other ways to be intimate besides sexual intercourse. There just are. Okay, so just throwing that out there right now. Let's normalize the conversation so you don't have to Google these things and hide in shame. We're going to answer some of this shit right now. Starting with, does size matter? We're going to break this down because I know that there's dudes out there who feel insecure. This is a real thing. Guys feel insecure about their penis sizes. Yes, I said penis. And they question, how big is it? Most men have actually measured their penis. And if they haven't, I would probably be curious if they are lying. And most women will talk about penis size with their girlfriends. They just do. And it's not to be rude or bad or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is that we're all conscious of it. We're all talking about it. Why not discuss what's really behind size? Number one, a lot of times length is what is talked about most. But when it comes down to it, a lot of women have talked about width, right? Like, how wide is it? Look, at the end of the day, comfort plays a huge part in this. So, a lot of men feel this pressure to have the biggest dick out there, right? What I'm trying to say here is that it has created a whole culture of itself, like what's hidden behind the zipper. But I'm going to tell you right now, comfort plays a really big part in this. And if you are looking to pleasure somebody, whether you are a man or you are a woman trying to be pleasured, right? It doesn't matter, works both ways. You don't have to necessarily worry so much about your size, but more about also how you can pleasure a woman without just your penis. It's not just about having sex, right? Like it's about clitoral stimulation. Most women can't come unless they have some sort of clitoral stimulation. There are women out there that can come without any, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with either. No woman is defective or faulty or anything like that when we're tacoing about it, all right? But I will put this out there that dudes, don't worry so much about your size. Think about other ways to please a woman that don't have to be with the size. And it's okay. Talk about it. When you guys are hooking up or whatever, ask, what do you like? What don't you like? Like, these are important things to discuss. And I actually address and talk so much about how to have these conversations in my guide, No Filter, the sex guide every dater needs. What I'm trying to say here is let's take actually the focus off the size. Yes, size plays a part into this, but there's so many other factors that actually matter that we should be focusing on. For example, stamina, right? How long can people last? What about your athletic exposure in bed? If that's even a thing, I feel like I literally just like made up that a new word, athletic exposure in the bed, guys. But really, at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this straight up, confidence. Confidence is going to make a difference. And how do you get confidence? You get confidence not just by like walking in, confident woman, confident man. No. We're talking about feeling confident because you are communicating, you are asking questions, you're getting receptive feedback. Women, it is okay to let somebody know, hey, I like being touched this way. Or men, it's okay to say, hey, how do you want to be touched? All of these things matter. All of these things matter so much that does size matter? I'm not going to lie. To an extent, sure, size matters in terms of length and width, depending on comfort. Fine, I'm not going to disagree there, but I'm going to tell you the truth. There's so much other shit in terms of pleasing somebody in other ways that don't matter about your dick size and being able to have stamina and being able to be confident. Those are the things that really actually matter when we're tacoing about does size matter. Loved this episode? Rate it 5 stars, hit that subscribe button, baby, and leave a review. Do you want to work with me? Grab my dating courses, apply for my coaching at carlaromo.com or find it all in the show notes, and give me a little follow at I am Carla Romo on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Catch you next time and stay tuned. Carla Turned On is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not a substitute for therapy. For professional support, please reach out to a licensed mental health provider.